Thank you for the generous introduction. Good afternoon. My talk will be just a rundown, plus just a list of what's going on with the seed industry. This is my outline. Let's start with reminding you that we are only 20% land. The rest is water. That means our riches, our resources are under the sea. And most of our population, 74%, is living near the sea. Okay. Basically, we're talking about one of the sources I'm talking about the seeds. There's green seaweed, brown seeds, and red seeds. Depends on the pigment. And this is the biodiversity. There's more than 1,000 species of seaweeds in the Philippines. Mostly red, 68%. And little bit of chlorophyte greens. And then you have 18% with browns. There are something like 350 species that have known of economic value. And biodiversity, I just don't know, that we are more in the Philippines than Vietnam. Take note of Malaysia is just above Thailand in number of species. But if you look at this, these are the areas that there's no extensive survey of what species we have. There's a Pacific seaboard, there's rock sea, so no one will really go there and collect. Whereas this one, Mindanao, the security area, security problem. What my worry is that in here, way back around 9 years ago, more than 9 years ago, around 2000, reported that there is a variety called aringari, which is found in Tawi-Tawi. So we detected it and reported physical changes in the yield. But apparently, that seaweed also grows in Malaysia. So they characterized the seaweed genetically and characterized it, and they reported it. And worse is that they named it as Encopophagous malaysiana. So it's not in the Philippines, but Malaysia. So I don't know, I think the US doesn't want anyone to spend on taxonomy or biodiversity on seaweeds. Okay. These are the series of the presently called Encopophagous, Eucheuma, and Urba. Encopophagous contains the Kappa carrageenan. Eucheuma has the Iota carrageenan, and Urba is a simple atom, which there is a lot of inquiry from Europe now because we call this seaweed as green caviar. Anybody has eaten that? Yes, Luso. None? Luso. You've not eaten Luso? Or how about the derivative? Have you eaten? You must have brushed your teeth today. Or you have taken evaporated filled milk. That contains carbohydrate. Or eaten ice cream, Philippine-made ice cream. That contains a lot of carbohydrate. Or what? Chocolate milk. That's the reason why. No. It doesn't work. Anyway, this is how the Korean exports. We reached up to around more than $250 million in about 2014, and now it's going down. But you see the quantity more is stable. It's just the prices going up. Right now, present is almost 90 pesos per kilo of the seaweed that is 40% moisture. Okay, this is the export. As told you in 2014, parang nag-take off. Okay, this is the production area. It's in production. You will notice that Mindanao has a very high production. And the poverty area, this is the poverty area, and it's very high. But if you look at this next slide, you will see incidence of poverty among Filipinos, the arm is high, which also produces the number of seaweeds. So this is the thing that the message I was telling about, that there needs to be a social science study somewhere to explain that one, the incidence. More production, but the people are poor. Okay, basic current markets was Marikina, whose water business I told you about, toothpaste, for gels, dairy, milk products, you've eaten hot dogs, cardiolote, tocino, those two things Marikina. Hams, it allows the hams to be sliced by finger. Okay, these are the recent accessibility efforts. I'll talk about the BIFAR response to NRSP. That's the National Organic Standards Board of the US. Well, there's establishments of the gene banks of different seaweed varieties, BIFAR. Well, there's a downside to it later on we'll discuss. Tissue cultures, laboratories. The seaweed cities bank had been reported. Organization of natural environment, natural growth, preservation, natural preservation. I think the word is the word of Dr. Azanza. And the cities of the seed farm taken from the seedlings, nurseries, not from the wild. And there's also improvement of farmer skills. There is now a program between TESTA and BIFAR to put up a program for specializing farming, because there's a lot of Filipino seed farmers being hired in Malaysia and Indonesia for $300 a month just to farm seedlings. And these are now the indoor gene bank, the lab that we tested before. This is the land-based nursery where they have the seedlings. This is the generation of the seed farming seaweed stocks. That's Bulina Marine Laboratory. And this is the one, if you cut and then let them grow out, this is the Brighton Nilonilo forms. That's from the nurseries. This now again the work from the BIFAR, that's in Bicol. They have the tissue culture, the branch culture, and the fusion. Those are the things we grow. Again, it's a training program over there. Okay. The main thing is that there's a plan now before to stop all these kind of activities and turn it over to the private sector. Because they said it's better for the private sector to run it like a business than the government running a business like this. Okay, this is again, they are presently, working on laboratories are copper fibers, Puma, Rosaria, and Sargasso. Again, this one's on the COP, branch culture, tissue culture, spore shedding, and fusion. These ones are the ones developed now by mostly from UPLB, the agricultural engineering group, which they have developed some dryers. I know we have to go to Simborna, Malaysia, because the university there have a seaweed estate, seaweed farming estate. So we went there and observed how they do it. Main thing is advantage natin, tayo, wala tayong solar dryers, but that's why we developed this one. Engineer Pangang developed this. This is Galatagan. This is in Romblon, which again this is Ronel Pangang. No. Okay, this is the NOSB. Way back 3 years ago, NOSB, that's the National Organic Standards Board of the US, which recommends organic, what are the substances to be listed in the organic list for food additives. They said to that they want to delist carrageenan from the organic list. And they had 4 objections to the carrageenan, which the before answered. One was that NOSB claims that carrageenan is causing low-level, long-term inflammation, resulting in intestinal ulcerations and promoter of colon cancer, tumors. Partly, it's a good thing that the paper Weiner came out to say that this is a policy, and then what we're doing is that they treated the cancer basically, the objection based on the edema cause for inflammation. But actually, you cannot test when carrageenan is ingested as an ingredient, when there is interaction. Okay, second one is that the red carrageenan is a list to be carrageenan according to the World Health Organization research that is it's cancer, but you see, it's been equated with polygeenan, which is carcinogenic. Food grade carrageenan is not polygeenan, so it's not carcinogenic. Again, we based on Weiner's article and also in Jeffrey in 2015. Again, one fact that carrageenan contributes to insulin resistance, causes diabetes. But again, the work of Dr. Panasiye says that carrageenan, if you had 4% in food, in rice, it lowers your glycemic index. And then NOSB claims that the seed farmers have over-harvested. Actually, we show pictures that we are fortunately getting from seed nurseries, not from wild. Again, NOSB says that carrageenan is polluting by damaging the KOH. Again, we reply that the Philippines follows the environmental laws, in which we are universities on Philippine environmental laws. Okay. Finally, the US, well, to justify the story of the NOSB, even NOSB decided that there's the safety of the carrageenan is not questionable, but they still suggested to USDA that it should be listed because there are alternatives. So, but finally USDA last year decided to still remain in the organic list because we could have tried a substitute for the carrageenan food. Okay, this is another what the BFAR did was to have a guideline in guiding where to farm seaweeds with the climate change. Again, this is the book written by Dr. Perry and Dr. Bakatos is here. Basically, they had a GIA-based map of the seed farms in the Philippines. Okay. And then there are other seeds to be farmed, planned to be farmed. The Salimania because of the pigment. Sargassum, because of being overfished or overharvested, because sargassum is fed to the animals. It contains boidan and fluoxetine, anti-cancer agents. It's Gracilaria. You have the brown bars. Porphyra, this is a rubber sushi sheet. And this is going to be found in Batanes. Ulvalactuca is a green seaweed which contains high amount of protein, up to 30% protein, and then contains the DHA of around more than 3%. DHA. It then contains Ulvan, which is used for anti-cancer and also in cosmetics. Okay. Now these are the research technologies about basically which might help the Philippines maintain also sustainability. Okay, garden seeding. Yeah, that's what they do. You have the carrageenan as a tactifier of the seeds, and then the Philippine seeds, and then this is before they spray it on the open pit farm mines, and then this is after. Okay, again. Okay, these are the maps that they use. Okay, the next one is that presently, I think last week, there was a Filipino company who would like to go into this bioprocess. At last, the idea was published around 3 years ago. It's only now that the Filipinos are interested, which I'm going to show, which we got the link from BBC.
Might not be the first thing that springs to mind, but an Indonesian inventor has found new ways to use the marine algae this got in wet to sea. How? What is this made of?
It's made of seaweed without using any chemical process. So we can use it for the bar and then for the coffee sachet, stir it.
That's great. That's a great cup of coffee.
For soap, so you don't need to open the soap. You can just wash your hand.
That dissolves really quickly. I presume the only nutrition in this is in the wrapper. While there are still some concerns about how seaweed farms might affect coastal ecosystems, the potential of this design is enormous. It seems to me to be such an exciting, but more importantly, a really concrete solution to the plastic problem. And it's coming from a young Indonesian, he's only 25 years old. It's coming from a country that's one of the biggest plastic polluters in the world. I can't wait to see what this guy achieves in the next few years.
Dr. Dario of the University of San Carlos showed me the patent application. It was a granted international patent because the formula is very simple. They just added carbohydrate classes. For me, you could easily modify, innovate. You could add konjac rum, make it harder, and things like that to make it more stiff and stronger. So we could apply for a utility model. Now, during the time there was the NOSP problem, my lab was trying to work on seaweeds, if supposing it's not going to be used anymore as food, so maybe the seaweed would also be used as a pulp. Red seed pulp needs less chemicals, no more lignins to remove. Red seed pulp fibers are thin and papers very smooth and high smoothness and opacity, equivalent to wood pulp. So this is what we did. We isolated the 7-gram puma in the copper fibers. That's around 15% of the seaweed is pulp. Now this could be made into paper or textile. Okay, what are the impressions now? The industry wants to replace all the seedless materials with those that have been produced by tissue culture and from sporlings. There's going to be it's a enormous task which the industry might need help from the US, especially now because before it's closing down their tissue culture labs and nurseries. They want to establish a seed nursery and tissue culture laboratories, replacement of plastics in the seaweed farming, improvement of mechanization of the seed farming, improvement of processing the seaweed using biotechnology, needing more applications, cost-effective and in volume, and then the assessment and evaluation of the organic fertilizers. Because the industry doesn't want to add fertilizers, inorganic fertilizers, to make. We're selling the seeds, as an organic product. So no inorganic fertilizer should be added. But if, in my personal view, I think there is really a need in this industry for scientific, technology, personnel. Most of us, like me, the pathologists is growing old, and about to be, most of the technical people, the shepherd before and the old plants are now in Indonesia. 6 years ago when I attended the conference at the International Symposium in Bali, and I was surprised that the top CEOs there in seed plants were Filipinos and were from Cebu. They were working under Shepherd before. We need social economic studies, especially in regards to poverty. See, Indonesia is introducing seed farming, because basically for poverty alleviation. There's also a need for linkage with social media. You see, during that NOC event, you see, even Starbucks, there's also a label that carrageenan free. If you also look at Europe, when they promote the seed Odell seed, they always deal with social media in promoting the product. There's more, the industry needs more, when there's a seed by diversity studies and screen out the products and then screen out the varieties. For example, the resistant, they said that million variety is least resistant to rice disease. Okay. There's more investment needed to develop seed products. In fact, what the FAR is thinking now is I2I forum, this is Inventor Investor Forum, in which invite all the scientists, inventors, and also the industry, so that they could discuss what products to develop. And then again, harmonious relationships with agencies, because agency will not give data, even though it's important. An agency also, like for example, the Bureau of Statistics will report data in fresh way, whereas what is needed basically is the dry way. Okay? And then you need a long-range planning for the seed industry. Indonesia already had a plan, what, more than 20 years ago? Imagine if you, that was 2016, they already have an international symposium of seaweed pigments. And they're developing seaweed pigments. Tayo, we're growing on seaweed pigments. Okay? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Academician Montaño.